What's up, crafters? If you are anything like me, you have a folder dedicated to nothing but sublimation designs. Quite frankly, they are some of the cutest things that are floating around the internet right now, and it is a hobby that everyone is trying to get into. But I understand that starting up a sublimation thing is kind of expensive. You need a printer, you need special ink, you need special paper, but you still have the files. Let's put those files to good use. You can create stickers inside of Cricut Design Space using those adorable sublimation files. So grab your favorite files and meet me over in Cricut Design Space. So Creative Fabrica actually has a free event going on right now where they're giving away free files every single day. And this happens to be the free bundle that they put up today. They're all Halloween sublimation designs. It's going to be available for the next 22 days at the time that I'm recording this, and I'll try to get this video up as soon as possible so you guys can cash in on this freebie. So we've downloaded this file and we're actually going to start importing some of these inside of Cricut Design Space. As you import these files, make sure you're saving them as complex because they genuinely are complex images, and we want to make sure that everything is going into Design Space as nice as possible. Be sure you're filling out the image name and the tags because you do not know what you're going to be searching for in 6 months from now, next year. If you come back to this and you want to create these stickers again, be sure to fill these things out because it is helpful in the long run. So now that we have our files uploaded inside of Cricut Design Space, I'm going to show you the steps that you need to take in order to turn these sublimation designs into stickers. So as you can see, we already have an outline around the gnome, which has given us picture perfect sticker outline quality that we need from the rest of these files. The way that I got that outline is actually using the offset feature inside of Cricut Design Space. So what you want to do is select that, and you'll notice the top toolbar navigation thing has changed a little bit. About a third of the way into the navigation, you're going to see different things that say select all, edit, and offset. Select that offset. Now you'll notice that it says beta because, well, Cricut hasn't officially rolled this thing out yet. It's still testing, there's still going to be kinks, so while some things might appear perfect the first time, you might go in there in a few weeks and things might get a little hairy. This is a feature that you're really just going to have to play with. Not everything is going to come out 100% perfect, however, it is a way to utilize those sublimation designs. And as they work out the kinks, I'm sure that this feature is going to become even better. So selecting offset, it's going to pop up a box like this. The distance is going to be the outline that you're creating. If you drag it to the left, it's going to go inward, which is not something that you want. We're going to want to go outward because we're trying to create a nice border around the sublimation design so that Cricut will cut it out nicely. The default is going to be 0.25. Now, sometimes this is going to work great, and other times you'll need to make some adjustment. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 0.3 because I see a few spots here that I don't necessarily want to mess with. So bumping it up just a little bit, we actually managed to close up some of the gaps that I was concerned about. And using the contour feature and adding a couple shapes, we can make this an even better file. So we're going to go ahead and hit apply, and that's going to give us our outline. Now, it does look a little rough, but just hang in with me. It's a trust the process kind of thing. We don't need the sublimation design shown right now. We kind of have an idea of what it looks like, so we're just going to go ahead and hide this. So now it did create a print and cut outline around it, and right now we don't need that print and cut outline, so we're just going to go ahead and switch it to a basic cut, and this is going to allow us to play with the contour feature and hide some of these little holes that was created because it is a sublimation design. So selecting contour in the bottom right hand side, we're going to go ahead and do hide all contours because we want this sticker to be as sturdy as possible. Now, as you can see, the text did leave a little bit of a gap, and there are still some other gaps that we can really just close up. In order to do that, we're going to go to the left hand side and we're going to play with the different shapes. So what you want to do now is select any of these shapes, circles, boxes, anything that's gonna help close in those gaps. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple boxes, and I'm also gonna grab some circles. So now that it looks like all of the holes are covered up, let's go ahead and select everything and we'll weld it together. Now I do see that there's a small piece missing, so we're just gonna pop on over to that contour feature again and we're gonna hide that. Now we have a solid shape for our sublimation design. I'm gonna bring our sublimation design to the front so that you can see it, and we're gonna turn this white. As you can see, our sticker now has an outline around it. All of the little tiny gaps have been filled in, and we're just going to repeat this same process for the other sublimation designs that we brought in. So the last options that you picked using the contour feature should automatically pop in. If they don't, just remember the numbers, and of course you can make adjustments if you need to. So once again, we're going to hide that top layer, we're going to select this, and I'm going to fill in the gaps. So I'm going to change this to our basic, change the color so I can make sure everything looks okay, and then we're going to unhide our truck layer, drag it on top, and so this one looks pretty good. I'm honestly really happy with this. The only thing I could see is maybe filling this in down here a little bit so that it doesn't come as far into underneath the tire. So I'll just go ahead and create a small shape, bring that back down. I'm cool with this. So now we have this one, our witch's hat, and our little gnome. So we have 3 of the 4 designs done, and let's move on to the more complicated piece. Selecting this and going with our offset feature again, you're gonna see what I mean by complicated. Alright, so I used the contour feature on that Boo one that had the spider web in the background, and as you can see, it kind of looks a little crazy. Let's see if we can clean this up. Let's hide the layer. We're going to go to our basic so that we can use the contour feature. Now let's just go ahead and hide all of the contour parts. This has cleaned up a lot of the concerns that we had. If you remember, we had lines everywhere, cut holes. So using contour really did help us a lot. So something that we can do is we can either use the shapes to fill in some of these areas, like right here, this little line here, to make these circles fit a little bit better, or we can use that offset feature one more time on a lower stroke. So 0.3 is what we had before, but let's see if 0.1 will give us similar results. So 0.3 is what we had before, but we don't necessarily need the outline that much bigger. Let's try like a 0.1 or a 0.5 and see what that looks like. So 0.1 does allow us to fill in some of these gaps like here and here, and it kind of seems like it's still leaving us a little bit. So 0.1 is allowing us to fill in some of the gaps. However, my concern are like these little bubble pieces that are coming up. So let's go with a 0.5. So let's go. So 0.1 does allow us to fill in some of these gaps, but let's go 1.5. So 0.1 does allow us to fill in some of these gaps. So let's open that contour feature one more time. 0.3 is definitely too big. We want our outline to be a little bit thicker, but this is just too much. Let's try a 0.1. So while 0.1 did give us the chance to kind of fill in some of the gaps, like here and here, I'm not entirely thrilled with the idea of these little spiderweb pieces kind of falling off. They seem like they're gonna rip a little easy if we were to cut this out like it is. I'll go ahead and kick this up to 0.15, and as you can see, this looks a little bit better. Honestly, we might even be able to go to 0.17. Again, this is one of those things that you will have to play with. Because these designs aren't necessarily sticker ready, we're kind of manipulating what we have in order to get it there. There will be a little bit of trial and error and some back and forth. So we have our shape, and there's still this little piece here that we can get rid of. So I'll go ahead and add another circle, weld these two things together, and I think we'll just call this one a day. So moving that shape to the back and unhiding our sublimation design, you can kind of see what we've got working right now. We've taken 4 separate sublimation designs and turned them into ready to cut stickers. Now that we have our designs done, what we need to do is actually flatten each of these attached groups. This is going to allow the Cricut machine to read it as one cut instead of 2 separate things. If we were to leave them as attached and move on to the next step, it's actually going to tear up our vinyl because it's going to be following the same path that the sublimation design imported with. So selecting both of those, right click and go to flatten, and do that process with all of the stickers that you just created. So Cricut is still limiting us on exactly how big we can print these things. I know that there's several videos out there that people have hacked the system and they're able to create full pages, but it's not something that I've personally been able to 100% replicate. So until I can, I'm just gonna stick with this method, and this is what I'm gonna teach you guys. So I did go ahead and duplicate this a few times. We'll see what happens. So it looks like the sizes that I have, only one didn't fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and move that over, and I'm sure that we can get this thing to fit on here. So we're gonna send it to our printer. I'm gonna turn off bleed because we created the white offset. We don't really need the bleed anymore. Make sure you use the system dialog box. This is going to allow you to change your printer quality, your paper settings, all of that stuff. So select print, and it should pop up a dialog box for your printer itself. Make sure that you select your printer. If you have multiple things attached to your computer, make sure it's the correct one selected and go to preferences. Here you can change the paper type and the quality and look at advanced options. Now, a quick disclaimer. When you do stickers, you are going to run into a lot of trial and error through the process. Everyone's printer settings are different, computer settings are different, so it's something that you're going to want to toy with. Even sticker paper can change how the quality comes out. As you test different things, make sure that you have a piece of paper with you so you can write down the exact settings that you created, what you did, and how it turned out. This will help you in the future, creating a kind of quick start guide for you. You'll know what works and what doesn't work with your sticker paper and your printer settings. I hope that this video shows you guys that those sublimation designs that you've been hoarding on your computer can finally be put to good use, even without a sublimation printer. And if you're looking at making more stickers, I think that you'll find this video here really helpful. It's literally my favorite sticker hack. And until next time, guys.